Hello viewers, you're watching the Wild Lifestyle Show. My name is Helena. Today we are talking about diabetes. Stay glued to your sets. We'll be right back.
A brave African queen fought many battles to protect her family from hungry mosquitoes that may carry malaria parasites. Until one day she discovered something new.
Discover new Raid Day and Night, 3 sprays on 1 poster for 24-hour mosquito protection for the whole family. The future of mosquito protection is here. The revolution will be peaceful. Raid Day and Night. It's good to be tough.
SC Johnson, a family company.
Memory, coordination, confidence. You put more into your baby's development than you think. And now you can put more into every mealtime. Cerelac combines iron, vitamin C, and probiotics to support physical and mental development. Nestle Cerelac, now with Iron Plus. Big nutrition for small tummies.
Welcome back. So my beautiful wake up. My makeup and my nails were done by AJ Hair and Makeovers. You can locate them at East Legon, Oponglo. They share the same building as EcoBank. We shoot at Aliza Hotel. Affordable luxury is what you get. Thank you very much, Professor Matilda Steiner Siedu, for this beautiful fabric. And thank you, Loretta Unisex Designs, for this beautiful style you've given me. I really love it. If you want Loretta to make designs for you, call her. Her number is on the screen. You can find her at Kokomlemle, East Legon, and Osu. Now, we are discussing diabetes. Doctor, you're welcome.
Thank you.
So we have Dr. Asamoah Nkrumah from Airport Women's Hospital. Thank you for honoring our invitation. All right. So, Doctor, diabetes. What is diabetes?
Well, diabetes is a chronic medical condition where the person who suffers from this condition tends to have higher glucose concentrations in their blood.
Okay.
What causes this? We have an organ in our abdominal cavity called the pancreas, which is supposed to secrete a hormone called insulin.
Okay.
So when you have inadequate production of this hormone, insulin, or you're producing but your body is not able to respond to that insulin, you tend to have the glucose which you get from your diet being high in your blood, and that is basically what we call diabetes.
Diabetes. I know most people know it's commonly as high blood sugar.
Yes.
Okay, so you've said that when sugar accumulates in the blood, then one tends to have diabetes. What's usually the cause, like the lifestyle causes?
The causes, as I said, it will depend on the type of diabetes you have.
Okay.
But generally, as I earlier said, we get glucose from what we eat. So if you realize that you're eating things that are producing too much sugar into your system, the risk tends to increase. Yeah, that is one. Already there's a genetic predisposition to diabetes, and we also have environmental factors all coming to play to give you diabetes. So yes, if already you have that, you're prone to having diabetes and your lifestyle is not that healthy, tend to do things that would increase your risk, eventually you would have the disease.
Okay.
When we talk about genetic predisposition, we are talking about someone who tends to have a family history of diabetes. If you realize that your immediate or even your extended family, you have a strong history of diabetes in your family, definitely that's a genetic predisposition to having diabetes.
All right. And you mentioned that it depends on the type. I think it didn't come out clear, the different types that we have. So what are the different types of diabetes?
Well,
we already know the genetic.
Yes. For diabetes, I will talk about mainly type 1.
Okay.
We have type 2. And then I'll later talk about the pregnant women, what we call the gestational diabetes. For type 1, they do not produce insulin because there's a problem with the pancreas itself. The cells that are supposed to produce the insulin are deficient. Yes. So if you do not produce the insulin, there's nothing to regulate the sugar you are taking. So that is one type. And we tend to see that in the younger generations.
Why is that?
Yes, because as we say, it's an autoimmune disease. Your body is fighting against it. So you tend to produce certain things that would destroy those cells that will produce the insulin. Yes.
And I'm just wondering why it happens at a younger stage.
Yes. You are supposed to have your pancreas working. So in the event where you're having sugar, you're eating daily, and you're not having anything regulate the sugar, of course you have symptoms. That is why we see it in the early generations. Unlike the type 2, which is in the adults, where your pancreas is okay, but with your lifestyle changes, you realize that the sensitivity to the insulin decreases.
So
Yes.
there's no way an adult can have type 1.
Well, there are rare forms. I mean, there are rare forms where you tend to have that.
Okay.
But that is not, as I said, it's not common. Yes.
So type
you tend
2
to see it
is
in juvenile
juvenile.
onset. Yes.
So type 2 is usually lifestyle related.
Type 2 is, yes, mainly about your lifestyle. We tend to have decreased insulin sensitivity, as I said, and it's more prone in people who are obese and eating a lot of junk food. You're always sedentary, physical inactivity. If you have all these things, definitely you are predisposed to having type 2 genetic. And as I said, there's a genetic predisposition. So all these come into effect, and definitely you have diabetes.
Okay. So people must understand that nutrition is related to diabetes because, like you have just said, if you are eating a lot of foods that are high in sugar and your body is not able to pick up this sugar from the blood, then you tend to have it accumulating. And once you are sedentary, the research has shown that people who are usually sedentary tend to accumulate a lot of fat in the abdominal region. And there's also evidence that once you have a higher abdominal fat, you tend to be diabetic. You have a higher risk of being diabetic. So going back to the management, do you usually combine the clinical to nutrition, or you usually manage its,
Just the
with
medical
medicine?
point of
Yeah,
view.
because I've met people who are on diabetic treatments, but they haven't been referred to see the nutritionist or the dietitian. Why is it that most of the time we tend to manage it only with medicines?
Yes, I would say that's an error because, as I earlier said, glucose is from what we eat. So diet plays a major role in terms of the management of diabetes. Sometimes you realize that with patients having a better plan or seeing a nutritionist or a dietitian coming up with a good plan for them, their sugar control goes into the normal range as we expect it to go. So diet is very important. Medications, yes, but if you are taking the medications and you go back and you are eating the same things we are telling you not to eat, eventually you will not have the glycemic control that we want. Your sugar is going into the normal range, and definitely complications will set in.
All right. Yeah. So how does one know that they have diabetes?
For diabetes, we'll talk about the symptoms, and then we can talk about how we diagnose it in the hospital as well. For the symptoms, you realize that you always have increased thirst. You're always feeling thirsty.
Okay.
That desire to always drink water. You're never satisfied. That's one of the symptoms. Also, excessive urination is another symptom.
Okay.
Some people tend to have recurrent infections. If you're having boils in the armpits, in the perineum, for the
What's
ladies,
the perineum?
Your groin region. Sorry, your groin region. Some people tend to have, the ladies, candida infections. You go to
it's
several.
a sign of diabetes.
Yes, recurrent candida infections. You go to hospitals, you're taking medications, it's not going. You need to look at diabetes as well.
Could it be because it suppresses the immune system?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. Sugar tends to suppress, as you said, the immune system. So you're not able to fight infections as you're supposed to.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is one of it. And you're losing weight. There's no explanation to your weight
Some
loss.
don't lose weight with that. They still get fat. Or you're talking about the severe
you see, as I
state.
said, there are different types.
Okay.
But that is one of them. In terms of the type 1, that will go more for type 1 diabetes. You're just losing weight. Whatever you do, there's no reason to it. You should look at that. Yes, and some people always tired, fatigued. Yes, those are some of the
Once you're
symptoms
feeling
you
that
should
way,
be
you
looking
should
at.
see.
Yes.
Yeah, for a test.
For diagnosis, I would advise that you should go to the hospital or have your glucose checked. When you check your glucose during a fasting period, and the value is above 7 on 2 separate occasions, yes, we suspect that you are diabetic. For Ghana, we tend to use the millimole per liter. That is quite common. If you go into the outside, they tend to use the micromole and stuff. But Ghana, we use the millimole. So that is quite common here. And the value we expect you to have is below 7.
Okay.
So anytime you go and you hear something below 7, ideally below 5 is good. If you are between 5 to 7, it tells you that you need to start looking at yourself. But above 7, you should definitely check again. If you are getting above 7, that's the fasting, on 2 separate occasions, then yes, the possibility that you are becoming diabetic is there.
Okay.
That is the fasting. Aside that, if you are not fasting and you check, regardless of these symptoms, you check and it's above 11, then the diagnosis is made. Yes, and you need to start treatment.
It's above 11.
Above
So we
11.
have above 7.
That's for the
above-
fasting.
Okay.
And then if you're not fasting, what we call the
Okay.
random blood
Okay.
sugar.
Okay.
Above 11 with your symptoms, yes, you are diabetic.
Okay, I know that you've already talked about the causes, but are there conditions that predispose one to diabetes?
Yes, there are many conditions. Aside the genetic causes I talked about, the pancreas itself is what is producing the insulin. So if you have any disease affecting the pancreas, yes, definitely you're going to get diabetes.
Like
That's one.
pancreatic cancer?
Pancreatic cancer, inflammations of the pancreas, what we call pancreatitis. Sometimes you have these minerals depositing in the pancreas, yes, and causing damage. So those are some of the things that you can have. Aside the medications, steroids. Prolonged use of steroids can cause diabetes.
Okay.
Yes, certain hypertensive medications, epileptic medications, to prolonged use of these things can lead to diabetes.
But some people don't have a choice. They still have to be on these drugs. Or is it that at a point, okay, Doc, before we continue, we have to go for a quick break. When we come back, I'll ask my questions.
Tired of all the old ways of fighting mosquitoes? Discover the new Raid Day and Night. 3 sprays on 1 poster for 24-hour mosquito protection for the whole family. The future of mosquito protection. Raid Day and Night. It's good to be tough.
Introducing Cerelac Biscuity, the new baby cereal from Cerelac, with a great new biscuity taste that babies absolutely love. And of course, it's fortified with iron to support babies' healthy growth, just like all the other nutritious Cerelac flavors. Cerelac, big nutrition for small tummies.
Welcome back. So if you're an organization or institution, a group that needs nutrition and health education, that needs nutrition assessments, Optimum Nutrition Care Consults will help you with that. And if you have any diet-related condition like diabetes, hypertension, high blood pressure, etc., just call 0501516186. We've been talking about diabetes, and so back to our doctor. Doctor, we're talking about some conditions that predispose people to diabetes, and you mentioned defects with the pancreas. So can we take it from there, please?
Yes, I mentioned diseases that primarily affects the pancreas. So we talk about cancer, talk about inflammation, talk about abnormal deposition of certain minerals in the pancreas. We also talked about certain medications, where I talked about the prolonged use of steroids and other medications. But yes, you need them. So it's always risk versus benefits. So that we cannot do much about.
That's difficult.
Yes.
So I think we have to start from scratch, like look at the root cause, watch our lifestyle, because of course, cancer, we know that treatment is kind of a challenge. We may not get the cure, but would you have specific lifestyle recommendations that people can adapt so that, we can protect ourselves from diabetes and other related lifestyle diseases?
Yes. Definitely you should have a healthy meal plan. When we talk about, I'm sure we've all heard about a balanced diet.
Sure.
But in the referring to diabetes, what we expect you to avoid is junk food, foods which are rich in fats, cholesterol, calories. We do not want that. Very sugary drinks, a lot of starch, a lot of salt. We do not want. So we are talking about rich food in fiber. Yes, low
And
in
we can get that in vegetables, whole foods.
We do not want white bread, which are too starchy. We are looking at vegetables, legumes, proteins, so definitely should be in there. We are looking at, you should avoid these fizzy drinks. Yeah, so a healthy plan, these are the things, rich in fiber, low in fats, calories, sugar, and salt. So those are and apart from the diet, your physical activity, if you are going to, so it's about the content and then the quality, the quantity as well. If you are eating a lot within a short time, it's also bad. And if you eat all this and you are dependent, most of the times we go to work the whole day, we are sedentary, you come home after 10, after you eat 30 minutes, you are off to bed. Definitely, it is not healthy. You have this truncal obesity. You're just keeping all the fats here. Yes, and that predisposes you to having diabetes. Yeah, so this is what I'll talk generally about diet.
Yeah, and we know that for those who are diabetic, usually when they get hurt or they get sores, they don't heal. Is that a myth or it's a fact?
Yes, very important. It's actually true. Yes, as you said, first of all, diabetes is going to depress your immune system. That is one. It decreases your immune system. Also, it affects the blood vessels. And for wound healing, you need blood to get there. You need all these vitamins and things to support wound healing. So if your diabetes affected your blood vessels and you get a wound, we realize that it tends to delay. So that is not a myth, it's actually true.
Okay.
Yeah, so in the treatments, we advise that most diabetics wear these very soft padded shoes because we do not want them to get these sores on their feet.
So there's no cure for such injuries? They will have the injury for the rest of their lives?
No, wound healing, it can take a long time. Just that you need to be in a proper hospital. You need to always go for your reviews, take the medications you're supposed to take. If you control your sugar, you realize that the symptoms decrease. So that is the main stage.
Those with injuries?
Yes, with injuries. Definitely, you can have a very long-standing wound. Sometimes it doesn't even heal. Yes, but sometimes we are successful.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, doctor. So you've really enlightened us on diabetes and how we can also manage it, some of the lifestyle changes that we can adapt so that we can prevent and also manage it. Do people with diabetes have to manage for the rest of their lives? Or sometimes you have the situation reversed and such that, they don't have to take the medications anymore?
For diabetes, when you have it, there's no cure. You need to manage it. Sometimes, as you said, it's not always we use medications. If you realize that your sugar values are not so high, sometimes diet alone is enough to get your sugar into the target range. But if you fall in the category where your sugar tends to be generally high and you're on medications, you have to be on them. That is
for the rest of your life. What if we eventually get the level into the normal range? You said above 7 is where the danger is. So if it's consistently below 7, do they still have to be on drugs?
You have to. That is, the drugs are what is maintaining the sugar values. So if you take it off, you realize that the sugars will definitely go back up. Yes. So if you're on medications, you take them forever.
So we've not had situations where the case has been reversed.
I'm tempted not to say sometimes you go off. Yes, if you realize that your medications maybe are getting low sugars all the time, we definitely modify them. Sometimes we even put you off a bit. But looking at the general population... But that should
be from a doctor's recommendation. So this is not to tell viewers
I do not want to go towards that line. Generally, you'll be on it for a long time.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for that. So, doctor, let's move on to the pregnant woman, diabetes during pregnancy. How dangerous can it be?
Yes. We say that diabetes definitely has effects on pregnancy, and pregnancy, vice versa, also has effects on diabetes. We realize that in pregnancy, the control of sugars can be difficult because pregnancy in itself is a diabetogenic condition. What I mean by that is we realize that the sensitivity of insulin, decreases a bit. So if you have suboptimal values of insulin, definitely your sugar values tend to increase. And we see that a lot in the second and third trimesters as your pregnancy progresses. If your sugars are not controlled very well in pregnancy, it tends to affect your baby. Aside you having the symptoms, yes, you realize that the babies sometimes become abnormally big, what we call the macrosomic babies. They have these congenital deformities as well. You can have so much water around the baby. Sometimes their growth can even be restricted. Yes. So looking at these complications, it affects the quality of life of your baby. And if you go towards cesarean sections, wound healing can even be a problem, infections of the womb. So diabetes control in pregnancy is very important. That's why we're always advocating that women have to go for prenatal testing when they are pregnant.
So ideally, you wouldn't want to go for you wouldn't want to do a CS for a pregnant diabetic.
No, that is not the case. Most of the times, we realize that babies tend to go towards the big side, the macrosomic babies. So if the baby is abnormally big for a first timer, there are growth restrictions or any conditions that are affecting the baby, most of the times we want to go towards the line of cesarean sections. But no, there are people who have diabetes, who have been well controlled, baby size is normal, who have successful vaginal deliveries. So it's not an absolute contraindication, it's relative.
I was actually asking because of the sore, because once it's CS, it means that the person is diabetic, it means that it may take time to heal. And I'm just looking at for a woman to have that sore for a long time.
Oh, I think you are equating the wound healing to those of the foot, what we discussed earlier on.
Okay, so that's only for the foot, is it?
That is, yeah, most of the times the ones we see long standing are the peripheries.
Okay.
Because look at the blood supply there as compared to the abdomen. Yes, it varies. So the peripheries, yes, it can be a problem. And the nerves there, the blood vessels there are affected.
Okay.
But realize that here, the abdominal cavity, when we make an incision on the abdomen, wound healing, if you follow the instructions, the wound is dry, you are cleaning it as you're supposed to, it heals. I'm sure we'll be worried if we have a lot of women around having, complications from the wound. So no, it's a challenge. But we are working.
And when we say injuries, we are talking about external injuries, right? Not like people just start getting sores.
No.
They have diabetes, right? All right. Thank you, doctor, for enlightening us. We are going for a quick break. When we come back, we'll have Healthy You segment. On Healthy You segment today, Constance Odame says, I want to increase in weight. What should I do? Okay, Constance, many people want to lose weight. Are you fortunate to want to increase weight? Okay, so first of all, we need to be sure that you have a healthy weight and there's a range that you should be in. So first of all, you have to be assessed and we are sure this is your weight and we should know where you want to get to and we should be sure that where you want to get to is healthy for you. Make sure, doctor mentioned balanced meals. Make sure you're having a balanced meal. Make sure you're having breakfast, you're having lunch, you're having supper. Make sure you're taking healthy snacks in between your meals. And most importantly, see an expert so that you get the right recommendations specific to you. Because as I sit here, I don't know your weight. I don't know how much fat you have in your body. And all that can be assessed. So if you want more information, just see an expert and I'm sure you have the specific recommendations that will help you and you alone, and you gain healthy weight. So, doctor, before we round up, has there been any research done in Ghana to tell us what the situation is as far as diabetes is concerned?
Yes, there's a lot of research. Okay. You should go online. Yes, and the figures, statistics are quite alarming. If recently Ghana Diabetes Association has told us that 4 million Ghanaians are suffering from diabetes.
4 million Ghanaians. 4 million
Ghanaians. And that's alarming. Yes, because realize that type 2, which is the commonest, is increasing. The prevalence is increasing.
It's not going down.
It's not. And
even though people are becoming conscious of their diets now.
Yes, people are. But the issue is that everybody is busy and everybody is looking for something to just munch on. And most of the choices that we make is just not healthy.
Fast foods.
Yes, it's not healthy. So realize that, and we are not just active. A lot of us are sedentary because most of us want the office jobs. Yes. So in the urban centers, you realize that diabetes is very high if you look at the statistics there.
I think one thing that can also help is meal prep. And, we tend, like you said, we tend to be too busy, so we don't have time to prepare meals or pack healthy foods to take to the office. So once you get to the office, and you are so hungry, you want to get something that is fast to eat. And most of these choices tend to be unhealthy and junk, like you said.
Yes. So I think with these statistics going on, I think in Africa alone, Ghana is ranked the 6th in terms of the prevalence of diabetes. So we are in top 10. So it looks like there's
top
a lot.
10, that's not good news.
That's not good. So definitely we have to do something about it.
Cause, yeah.
Yes. So yes, doctors we are working, we are advising our patients, but there's a lot more we can do.
But patients will come after they have the condition. So Ghana Diabetes Association, what have they done? Are you part of the association?
I'm not part of the association.
You're not part, so you can't speak for them. I was going to ask what they have done after the research because I haven't heard about any diabetic or diabetes advocacy that's going on after this alarming figure.
There are groups that I know. I mean, the pediatric side, there are lots of people doing so much, but I wouldn't speak for them. But I know individuals who are actively working towards the prevention. So
let's call for more active interventions.
Definitely.
Okay, doctor, your final words.
And from our discussion so far, what I would say is that diabetes, the burden of the disease is that it affects every part of your body, your liver, your kidney, your vessels. So it's not something you need to joke around with. If you realize that from the discussions, your lifestyle is not healthy, you are always inactive, lying down watching movies, you're not having any exercise plan, you're not eating well, it's a wake-up call for you to start living healthy lives. And also you should go to and see a doctor in a hospital and get more information about diabetes. Have annual checkups. Let them know what is going on with you. I think that is a good start. And yes, looking at the stakeholders, we need to learn more about diabetes, get people going to the hospitals to be compliant with their medications. Yes, and also having a healthy plan in terms of diet. Yes, that's what I would say.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for enlightening us. This has been the Wow Lifestyle Show. We usually say that we want you to have a wow lifestyle, and a wow lifestyle is that is a healthy one and is devoid of diseases, so that we can all be happy. Thank you very much, AJ Hair and Makeovers, for my beautiful wig, my makeup, and my nails. I really love my hair. To Aliza Hotel, thank you for having us. Affordable luxury is what Aliza gives you. Loretta Unisex Designs, thank you for my beautiful dress. I love my dress as well. So if you want Loretta to design a dress for you, just call her. Her number is on the screen. Thank you very much for watching. See you next week and stay healthy. My name is Helena.